Gentlemen, what if I told you that the secret to regrowing hair on thinning areas and even bald spots has been sitting in your kitchen this entire time? I'm Dr. Michael Richardson, and I've been a board-certified dermatologist specializing in hair loss for over 23 years. And today I'm going to share something with you that pharmaceutical companies absolutely do not want you to know. Here's a shocking statistic that most men don't realize. By the age of 50, approximately 85% of men will experience significant hair thinning. By 70, that number climbs to over 90%. But here's what really breaks my heart as a doctor who has dedicated his career to helping men like you. Most of those men believe they have no choice. They think baldness is simply their genetic destiny, something they must accept and live with. I'm here to tell you today, you do not have to go bald. You do not have to watch helplessly as your hairline retreats further and further back. You do not have to avoid mirrors or feel that sinking feeling when you see photographs of yourself from above. Let me tell you about a patient of mine named Robert. Robert came to me at 62 years old. He had been losing his hair steadily since his late 30s. By the time he walked into my office, he had a significant bald patch on his crown that he estimated was about the size of his palm. His hairline had receded so far back that he'd stopped going to family gatherings because he was embarrassed by the constant comments. Robert had tried everything. He'd spent thousands of dollars on prescription treatments. He'd considered hair transplant surgery, but was terrified of the cost and the recovery time. He was ready to give up entirely. But I shared with him the exact same secret scalp trick I'm going to share with you today, mixing a specific juice with castor oil. And gentlemen, within 3 months, Robert called my office in tears, happy tears, because for the first time in over 2 decades, he was seeing new hair growth on areas he thought were permanently dead. This is not fantasy. This is not false hope. This is a natural remedy backed by emerging science that targets the actual root cause of hair loss, something most conventional treatments completely ignore. So, if you're a man over 40, over 50, over 60, or even 70, and you've noticed your hair thinning, your part widening, your scalp becoming more and more visible, or you're developing those dreaded bald patches, I need you to watch this entire video. Do not skip ahead. Every single piece of information I'm about to share is critical to your success. Section 1. The problem. Understanding male pattern baldness. Now, before I reveal this powerful natural remedy, I need you to understand exactly what's happening on your scalp. Because when you understand the problem, the solution will make perfect sense. Gentlemen, male pattern baldness, what we doctors call androgenetic alopecia, is not simply about getting older. It's not inevitable. It's actually a complex biological process that, once you understand it, can be interrupted and even reversed. Here's what's really going on beneath the surface of your scalp. Your body produces a hormone called testosterone. Now, testosterone is essential. It's what makes us men. But here's the problem. An enzyme in your body called 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into another hormone called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT for short. DHT is the villain in our story, gentlemen. When DHT attaches to the receptors in your hair follicles, particularly those on the top and front of your head, something terrible begins to happen. Those follicles start to shrink. We call this process follicular miniaturization, and it's the primary mechanism behind male pattern baldness. Think of your hair follicles like plants in a garden. When they're healthy, they're deep-rooted, well-nourished, and they produce thick, strong hair. But when DHT attacks them, it's like slowly poisoning those plants. The roots become shallower, the stems become weaker, the hair that grows out becomes thinner and thinner, until eventually the follicle becomes so damaged it stops producing visible hair altogether. This doesn't happen overnight. For most men, this process takes years, even decades. That's why hair loss is so insidious. By the time you notice significant thinning, the damage has been accumulating for a very long time. Now, you might be wondering, why does this only affect certain areas of the head? Why do men lose hair on top, but keep it on the sides and back? The answer lies in the sensitivity of different hair follicles. The follicles on the top and front of your head have more androgen receptors, making them far more susceptible to DHT damage. The follicles on the sides and back of your head are genetically resistant to DHT, which is why they typically remain healthy throughout your entire life. But here's what most doctors won't tell you, and what took me years of clinical practice to fully understand. DHT is only part of the problem. There are 3 additional factors that accelerate hair loss and determine how severe your baldness will become. First, reduced blood circulation to the scalp. Your hair follicles need nutrients and oxygen delivered through your bloodstream. As men age, blood flow to the scalp often decreases significantly. This means your follicles are literally starving, unable to get the nourishment they need to produce healthy hair. Second, Chronic inflammation. Many men have low-grade, persistent inflammation on their scalp without even realizing it. This inflammation damages hair follicles over time and accelerates the miniaturization process. If you've ever experienced scalp itchiness, dandruff, or redness, you likely have some degree of scalp inflammation. Third, follicle dormancy. Here's something remarkable that most men don't know. Those bald spots on your head? Many of those follicles aren't actually dead. They're dormant. They're sleeping. They've shut down because of DHT damage, poor circulation, and inflammation, but with the right stimulation, many of them can be awakened and brought back to active hair production. I've seen this happen hundreds of times in my practice. Men who thought their follicles were permanently gone, who had resigned themselves to baldness, suddenly start seeing new growth in areas that had been bare for years. It's one of the most rewarding things I experience as a dermatologist. Section 2. Why conventional treatments fail now. I know what you're thinking. If hair loss is such a well-understood process, why haven't the pharmaceutical companies solved this problem? Why are millions of men still going bald? Let me share with you the uncomfortable truth about conventional hair loss treatments. The truth that the pharmaceutical industry would prefer you never know. The two most commonly prescribed treatments for male pattern baldness are minoxidil, which you might know by the brand name Rogaine, and finasteride, which is sold as Propecia. Let's start with minoxidil. Minoxidil was actually developed as a blood pressure medication. Its hair growth effects were discovered by accident. Now, does minoxidil work? For some men, yes, to a limited degree. It can slow hair loss and produce some minor regrowth. But here's what the commercials don't tell you. First, minoxidil requires twice daily application for the rest of your life. Miss even a few days, and you begin losing all the progress you've made. Second, side effects are common and often significant. Scalp irritation, dryness, flaking, and in some cases, unwanted facial hair growth. Third, and most importantly, minoxidil does not address the root cause of hair loss. It doesn't stop DHT. It doesn't reduce inflammation. It doesn't improve circulation in any meaningful, lasting way. It's essentially a temporary Band-Aid solution that requires permanent, ongoing use. Now let's talk about finasteride. Finasteride does address DHT. It works by inhibiting the enzyme that converts testosterone to DHT. Sounds good in theory, right? But gentlemen, the side effects of finasteride are something I've seen devastate men's lives. Sexual dysfunction, decreased libido, erectile difficulties, depression, brain fog, and here's the truly frightening part. For some men, these side effects persist even after they stop taking the medication. We call this post-finasteride syndrome, and it has destroyed relationships and careers. I've had patients come to me in tears because they chose finasteride and are now dealing with intimate issues that have damaged their marriages. Is keeping your hair worth sacrificing your quality of life? For most men, the answer is absolutely not. And then there's hair transplant surgery. Yes, transplants can work, but we're talking about surgical procedures that cost anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. Recovery is painful. Results take over a year to fully appear. And if your hair loss continues, which it will because the surgery doesn't stop DHT, you may need additional procedures, each costing thousands more. Here's the bottom line. Conventional treatments either don't address the root cause, come with unacceptable side effects, or are prohibitively expensive for most men. That's why I've spent the last decade researching natural alternatives, remedies that work with your body's own healing mechanisms rather than against them. Section 3. The Big Reveal, the Secret Scalp Trick. Gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you has changed the lives of hundreds of my patients. It's helped men who had given up all hope. It's simple, it's affordable, and it's something you can start tonight. The secret is mixing fresh onion juice with cold-pressed castor oil and applying it directly to your scalp. Now, I know what you're thinking. Onion juice? That sounds too simple. That sounds too good to be true. But I promise you, the science behind this combination is remarkable, and I'm going to explain exactly why it works so effectively. Let me tell you about another patient of mine, Thomas. Thomas was 57 when he first came to see me. He had been completely bald on top for nearly 12 years. His crown was smooth, shiny, and he had long since stopped hoping for any regrowth. He came to me for advice about surgical options. I suggested he try this natural treatment for 90 days before considering surgery. He was skeptical, extremely skeptical, but he agreed. Thomas applied the onion juice and castor oil mixture 3 times per week, massaging it into his scalp exactly as I prescribed. 3 months later, Thomas came back for his follow-up appointment. Gentlemen, I wish you could have seen the look on his face. For the first time in over a decade, he had visible hair growth on his crown, not peach fuzz, not barely perceptible vellus hair, actual visible terminal hair growth. He broke down crying in my office. He said he never imagined he would see hair on his head again. And this is a man who had tried minoxidil for years with minimal results. So what makes this combination so powerful? Let me break it down for you. Section 4. The science explanation. Onion juice contains one of the highest natural concentrations of sulfur of any food source. Sulfur is absolutely critical for hair growth for several reasons. First, sulfur is an essential component of keratin, the protein that makes up your hair strands. When you apply sulfur-rich onion juice to your scalp, you're providing the raw building blocks your follicles need to produce thicker, stronger hair. Second, sulfur has powerful antibacterial and antifungal properties. Remember how I mentioned that scalp inflammation accelerates hair loss? Onion juice reduces that inflammation, creating a healthier environment for your follicles to function. Third, and this is crucial, the sulfur in onion juice helps increase blood circulation to the scalp. When you apply onion juice and massage it in, you're stimulating blood flow, delivering more oxygen and nutrients directly to your starving follicles. But here's where it gets really interesting. Research has shown that onion juice has compounds that actually help inhibit DHT activity at the follicular level. It's not as aggressive as pharmaceutical DHT blockers like finasteride, which is precisely why it doesn't cause the terrible side effects. Instead, it works gently with your body's natural systems to reduce DHT's damaging effects over time. Think of it this way. Finasteride is like using a sledgehammer. It's powerful, but it causes collateral damage. Onion juice is like using a precision tool. It's gentler, but it still gets the job done without the devastating consequences. Now, why do we combine onion juice with castor oil? This is where the magic truly happens. Castor oil is extracted from the seeds of the castor plant, and it contains a unique fatty acid called ricinoleic acid. Ricinoleic acid has several properties that make it incredibly valuable for hair regrowth. Show bottle of castor oil with molecular structure. First, ricinoleic acid is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Combined with the anti-inflammatory properties of onion juice, you're creating a dual-action treatment that dramatically reduces scalp inflammation. Second, castor oil is deeply penetrating. It carries the beneficial compounds from the onion juice deeper into your scalp, past the surface layer, right down to where the hair follicles live. Without the castor oil, much of the onion juice would simply sit on the surface and evaporate before it could do its work. Third, castor oil improves circulation through a different mechanism than onion juice. While onion juice stimulates blood flow through its sulfur content, castor oil improves circulation through its ability to increase prostaglandin E2 production in the scalp. Prostaglandins are compounds that regulate blood flow, and prostaglandin E2 specifically has been shown to promote hair growth. Here's an analogy I often use with my patients. Imagine your dormant hair follicles are like seeds buried in dry, neglected soil. The onion juice provides the nutrients those seeds need to germinate and grow. The castor oil is like tilling and watering that soil, creating the perfect conditions for those seeds to sprout. Together, they create a synergistic effect that neither ingredient could achieve alone. I want to share one more patient story to illustrate this point. Gerald was 68 years old. He had been losing hair since his early 40s and had a significant bald area covering most of the top of his head. Gerald had tried numerous treatments over the decades, including minoxidil for over 7 years, with disappointing results. Gerald started using the onion juice and castor oil treatment. For the first 3 weeks, he noticed nothing. He almost gave up. But I encouraged him to continue. By week 6, he noticed significantly less hair in his shower drain. By week 10, his wife noticed tiny new hairs sprouting around the edges of his bald area. By month 4, Gerald had visible coverage over areas that had been bare for over 20 years. Gerald told me this treatment gave him back something he thought was lost forever, not just his hair, but his confidence. He started going out more. He reconnected with old friends. He said he felt 10 years younger. This is the power of working with your body's natural healing mechanisms rather than against them. Section 5. Step-by-step instructions. Now let me give you the exact method to prepare and apply this treatment. Please follow these instructions precisely for best results. Step 1. Prepare the onion juice. Take 2 medium-sized onions. White or yellow onions work best. Peel them and cut them into quarters. Place the onion pieces in a blender or food processor and blend until you have a smooth paste. Then, using a cheesecloth or fine strainer, squeeze out all the juice into a clean bowl. You should get approximately 3 to 4 tablespoons of pure onion juice. Step 2. Mix with castor oil. Pour 2 tablespoons of cold-pressed castor oil into the bowl with your onion juice. It's critical that you use cold-pressed organic castor oil. Refined castor oil has been stripped of many beneficial compounds. Stir the mixture thoroughly until it's well combined. Step 3. Application. Part your hair into sections to expose your scalp. Using your fingertips or a dropper bottle, apply the mixture directly to your scalp, focusing on areas of thinning or baldness. You want to cover the entire treatment area with a thin, even layer. Step 4. Massage. This step is absolutely critical and most people skip it or do it inadequately. Using your fingertips, massage the mixture into your scalp using firm, circular motions for a full 5 minutes. Not 2 minutes, not 3 minutes, 5 full minutes. This massage dramatically increases blood flow and helps the treatment penetrate deeper into your follicles. Step 5. Wait and rinse. Leave the mixture on your scalp for a minimum of 30 minutes. For best results, leave it on for 2 hours or even overnight if you can tolerate the smell. Then wash your hair with a gentle, sulfate-free shampoo. Frequency. Apply this treatment 3 times per week. Many men see better results with every other day application. Do not apply daily, as your scalp needs time between treatments to absorb the nutrients and respond. Common mistakes to avoid. Do not use bottled onion juice from the store. It lacks the potency of fresh juice. Do not heat the castor oil. Heat damages the beneficial compounds. Do not skip the massage step. And do not expect instant results. This is a natural treatment that works with your body over time. Section 6. Results and timeline. Let me give you a realistic timeline of what to expect based on hundreds of patients I've worked with. Week 1 to 2. You will likely notice reduced hair fall. When you shower, there should be fewer hairs in the drain. When you brush your hair, fewer hairs on the brush. This is the first sign that the treatment is working. It's stabilizing your existing hair. Week 3 to 4. Your scalp should feel healthier. Less itching, less dryness, less inflammation. Many patients report their scalp feels more alive and comfortable. Month 2. This is typically when patients start noticing very fine, soft hairs appearing in areas of thinning. These are called vellus hairs, and they're the precursor to thicker terminal hairs. Don't be discouraged by their softness. This is excellent progress. Month 3 to 4. The vellus hairs should begin transitioning to terminal hairs. Thicker, darker, more visible. You should notice visible improvement in coverage, particularly around the hairline and crown. Month 6 and beyond. Continued improvement and thickening. Many patients experience their best results between months 6 and 12. The hair continues to strengthen and coverage continues to improve. Now, I must be honest with you. Results vary between individuals. Factors like your age, how long you've been losing hair, and your overall health all play a role. Some men see dramatic results, others see more modest improvement. But I can tell you this, in over 20 years of practice, I've never had a patient who followed this protocol correctly and saw no improvement at all. Section 7. Bonus tips and warnings. Before I conclude, let me share 3 additional tips that will accelerate your results. Tip 1. Avoid sulfate shampoos. Sulfates are harsh detergents found in most commercial shampoos. They strip your scalp of natural oils and can cause inflammation that worsens hair loss. Switch to a sulfate-free, gentle shampoo immediately. Tip 2. Add scalp-healthy foods. Incorporate more eggs, spinach, salmon, and nuts into your diet. These foods provide biotin, omega-3 fatty acids, and other nutrients that support hair health from the inside out. Text on screen. Diet matters. Eggs, spinach, salmon, nuts. Tip 3. Reduce heat styling. If you use a blow dryer, use the cool setting. Heat damages hair and can worsen thinning. Warnings. Some men experience mild scalp tingling when first applying the onion juice mixture. This is normal and indicates increased blood flow. However, if you experience severe burning, itching, or rash, discontinue use and consult a healthcare provider. Also, while this treatment is safe, it's always wise to do a small patch test on your inner arm before full application. Section 8. Conclusion and call to action. Gentlemen, you've now learned the secret scalp trick that has helped hundreds of my patients regrow hair they thought was lost forever. Mixing fresh onion juice with cold-pressed castor oil and applying it to your scalp 3 times per week can inhibit DHT, reduce inflammation, increase blood circulation, and wake up dormant follicles. Text on screen, onion juice, plus castor oil, your hair regrowth solution. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on transplants. You don't have to risk the devastating side effects of pharmaceutical treatments. You don't have to accept baldness as your destiny. I want you to start tonight. Go to your kitchen, grab some onions and castor oil, and begin your journey to healthier, fuller hair. Be patient, be consistent, and trust the process. If this video has given you hope, please do me a favor. Hit that like button so this information can reach other men who are struggling with hair loss. Subscribe to this channel for more dermatology secrets that the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want you to know. and leave a comment below saying, I'm trying this. I read every single comment and I want to hear about your progress. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. I'm Dr. Michael Richardson, and I believe in your ability to regrow your hair and reclaim your confidence. Take care of yourselves, gentlemen, and I'll see you in the next video.